Lanterns is a superhero show that hates superheroes. Stick around as I talk about why Lanterns hates superheroes and the character of Hal Jordan. Lanterns follows Hal Jordan and John Stewart in the year 2016. Hal is Earth's Green Lantern and John has been chosen by the Guardians to be trained by Hal as his backup. The two have an icy relationship and don't think they need the other. Instead of being in space, the two intergalactic cops are drawn to Rushville, Nebraska, to investigate a mass shooting at a local football game, an incident that Hal believes is alien-related and may have consequences for the entire planet. You can tell by how the show was written that the writers want us to hate Hal Jordan. He's portrayed as a drunken, disheveled, arrogant, selfish, and lonely character. The show goes out of its way to have him disrespected by several characters on the show. The local sheriff, Kerry Kane, tells him not to interfere in their investigation, doesn't let him interview a suspect, and says he's out of his jurisdiction.
You don't have jurisdiction.
We don't have jurisdiction.
You don't.
Newsflash, Hal is an intergalactic cop. The entire Earth is his jurisdiction. When John later says that Hal is fearless, Kane mocks the idea. She says that Hal is just a lonely guy who doesn't care about anyone, and who nobody cares about. This all coming from a character who we later find out is being controlled by the villain of the show. At one point, Hal gets put in front of a local female judge to be embarrassed and made an example of for trying to interfere in the investigation.
I'm Green Lantern.
I didn't ask who you were.
Even though, again, he's an intergalactic cop. Even John Stewart disrespects Hal frequently throughout the episode. Hal's been protecting the Earth for 30 years, and yet John has the nerve to tell Hal that he never earned the ring and doesn't deserve it. The way the show treats Hal Jordan says more about the point of view of the writers than anything. The show was written by Damon Lindelof, an overrated hack. Because Lindelof is a weak, awful, and insecure man, there can't be any real heroes, and the heroes that do exist need to be deconstructed. To Damon Lindelof, strong masculine characters are a bad thing, so someone like Hal must be humiliated. Which is ironic because despite all of that, Kyle Chandler's Hal Jordan is the best character on the show. And despite what Sheriff Kane says, he absolutely cares about people. He's been protecting the Earth for decades. He stopped a meteor from destroying the planet. Before the show started, he was in the middle of stopping an alien civil war, because that's what a hero does. He happily takes pictures and signs autographs for people who want to meet him. He treats the people he serves with respect. Also, despite trying to humiliate him repeatedly, the real story of the first episode is that Hal is the only person that actually knows what's going on. Hal knows that aliens are involved in the shooting, but the people around him like John, Sheriff Kane, and the judge keep getting in his way and preventing him from finding the truth. And he's right. We find out at the end of the episode that one of the suspects in the shooting was an alien. An alien who, after he gets discovered, tries to blow himself up. Hal uses his ring to put the alien in an energy bubble to keep any civilians from getting hurt, and uses himself as a shield to protect John and the sheriff. If Hal didn't care about anyone, would he be risking his life like that? Hal Jordan is the most interesting character on the show, so of course they kill him at the end of the first episode. In the last scene, the show jumps forward to the year 2026, and John goes back to Rushville and finds Hal's frozen body in the snow. We might find out that Hal is alive somehow, but it's clear that the real main character is John Stewart, even though he's the most boring character on the show. John shows zero emotion or personality during the entire first episode. You can try and excuse it by saying, oh, Aaron Pierre is just playing John Stewart as stoic, but you can play a stoic character and still have charisma. Alan Richardson does it on Reacher, and Pierre himself did it in the movie Rebel Ridge. As a character, John Stewart just feels like this dickhead that Hal's stuck dealing with. He shows zero competence in the episode as an investigator. He accidentally tips off a suspect at the shooting, causing them to run away. Then he sleeps with a random woman at a bar that he barely knows, who turns out to be the wife of the show's antagonist. Garrett Dillahunt plays Sheriff Kane's father-in-law, William Macon, who has his own compound full of armed men who wants to protect the Earth from aliens. So clearly he's the real villain. I think the first episode is really entertaining, but you can feel an anti-conservative slant seeping into the plot, or at least what the writer's perception of what a conservative is. When Hal interrogates a suspect, Hal concludes that he's really an alien because he isn't racist enough against Barack Obama even though he lives in Nebraska. The William Macon character bails Hal out of jail and invites him and John to a barbecue. Macon and Hal talk about aliens, and Hal becomes a different character in this scene. He turns into an avatar for the writers expressing their own opinions, which make no sense in this story. Hal tries to imply Macon's a bad guy for having all these guns, and says the galaxy is peaceful, even though Hal is in Nebraska investigating an alien attack, and he was just involved in stopping an alien civil war, and had to stop an alien from blowing up the town at the end of this episode. As long as the journey of the characters remains the main focus of the show, and not the writer's politics, I think Lanterns could be really good. If the show gets too overtly political and starts talking down to its audience, then I don't have much hope for the rest of the season. The rest of the show is probably going to be split into two timelines, if not more. The 2016 timeline is going to be about Hal and John finding out what kind of revenge plot the aliens in Rushville are up to. The 2026 timeline is probably going to be about John finding out what happened to Hal, and if he's really dead, and how it connects to what happened in 2016. I'm going to stick with the show for now because I want to see where the alien terror's plot in 2016 goes. Plus, even if the show wants to tear his character down, Kyle Chandler is crushing it as Hal Jordan. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.